You clicked because you already suspect it. That sleeve of balls in your bag right now might be the reason your scores refuse to drop. I felt the same way standing on the first tee at a little muni course outside Dayton, Ohio, 3 summers ago, watching my drive balloon into the trees while a guy twice my age hit it dead straight. Here is what I discovered after testing golf balls for 2 full seasons on my own money. The ball you play matters more than the driver you saved up 6 months to buy, and most amateurs, myself included, are playing the exact wrong ball for their swing. I lost strokes for years because of it. This used to be common knowledge among club golfers before slick marketing convinced everyone to buy the same ball the tour pros play. By the end of this, I will show you a compression trick from a 1960s pro shop practice that instantly tells you if your ball is fighting you. It works with balls you already own. No launch monitor, no fitting appointment, nothing to buy. So let me walk you through the 5 golf balls I dumped, in the order I figured them out, because getting rid of them dropped my handicap faster than any lesson ever did. Let me start with the ball almost every serious amateur carries, the one I was the proudest to have in my bag, the premium tour ball, the one that costs around $50 a dozen and has the same name stamped on it that you see on television every Sunday. Here is the uncomfortable thing I had to admit. That ball was designed for a swing I do not have, and unless you swing a driver faster than 105 miles per hour, it probably was not built for you either. Let me explain why, because this is where the history gets interesting. The modern tour ball is a high compression ball. Compression is basically how much the ball squishes at impact. Think of it like a spring. A high compression ball, rated around 90 to 100, is a stiff spring. It takes a tremendous amount of force to compress it fully. When a tour player swings at 115 miles per hour, he crushes that ball completely, and it springs back with explosive energy and control. That is the magic those balls are famous for. But here is what nobody at the pro shop told me. If you do not swing fast enough to compress that stiff spring, you never get the spring back. You are hitting a rock. The ball comes off soft and dead, you lose distance, and the control you paid $50 for never shows up because you never activated it. I did not believe this, so I ran my own test. I went to a range with a cheap radar unit that clipped onto my bag and told me my swing speed. Mine was 94 miles per hour with the driver, respectable for a man in his 50s, but nowhere near tour level. Then I hit 30 balls of the premium tour ball and 30 balls of a lower compression ball, rated around 55. I marked where each one landed. The lower compression ball carried an average of 8 yards farther. 8 yards. And it flew straighter, because a softer ball that matches your speed does not spin out of control on a glancing blow. I stood there on that range feeling like a fool, because I had spent hundreds of dollars over the years on the hard ball that was quietly costing me distance. The history backs this up. Compression as a measured concept goes back to the golden age of the wound ball. Coburn Haskell patented the rubber wound golf ball in 1899, and by the 1920s and 30s, ball makers were winding rubber thread at different tensions to create balls for different players. Slower swingers played softer wound balls. Harder hitters played tighter ones. This was normal. Every good club pro knew it. Then the solid multi-layer ball took over in the early 2000s, the marketing machine got enormous, and suddenly the message became simple. Play what the pros play. It sounded like aspiration. It was actually a mismatch sold to millions of us who will never swing 115 miles per hour. So the first ball I dumped was the expensive tour ball, and my wallet and my scorecard both thanked me. But that led me straight into a second problem, one that was hiding in a bucket in my garage, and honestly, it was even worse. The second ball I had to get rid of was the found ball, the lake ball, the one you fish out of the hazard or buy in those mesh bags at the discount bin, 50 balls for $15, feeling like a genius for the deal. I had a coffee can full of them in my garage. Balls I had found over the years, some of them premium models worth a couple dollars each when new. Free golf, I told myself. Why would I ever pay for balls when the water hazards were basically free stores? Here is what I learned, and it stopped me cold. A golf ball that has been sitting in water absorbs moisture through microscopic cracks in the cover, and once water gets into the layers, the ball is permanently damaged. It is not visible. The ball looks perfect, but it does not perform anywhere close to new. There is real research on this. Testing has shown that a golf ball submerged for just 1 week can begin losing distance, and balls that sit in a lake for several months can lose meaningful yardage, in some measurements up to 5, 10, even 15 yards of carry, depending on how long they soaked. The water breaks down the core and throws off the balance. An unbalanced ball wobbles in flight and rolls offline on the green, and you never know it, because it looks brand new sitting on the tee. I tested this myself with balls from my own garage can. I took 10 lake balls that looked flawless, and 10 fresh balls of the same model. I hit them into a net first to check nothing was cracked, then out on the course. The lake balls were all over the map. Some flew fine, some came up woefully short, and a few curved in a way I could not explain until I understood the balance was gone. On the greens, 3 of the lake balls consistently rolled left on a putt I knew was straight. That is a lost stroke every single time you putt with a warped ball. Even worse, and this is the part that stung, the older the ball, the worse it gets even without water. Golf balls do degrade with age. A ball sitting in a hot garage or a car trunk through summer after summer slowly loses resilience. The old wisdom said a ball had a shelf life, and it turns out that is true. The general finding from testing is that a golf ball stored well can last several years, but a ball baked in heat or soaked in water is compromised long before it ever looks it. So there went my coffee can. 2 seasons of free golf, straight into the trash, because free golf was quietly costing me strokes I could not even see. But throwing out the water balls forced me to actually buy balls again, and that is when I nearly made the third mistake, the one the discount aisle is practically designed to push you into. The third ball I dumped was the rock-hard distance ball, the 2-piece bargain ball marketed with words like maximum distance and extra long, sold cheap, usually the hardest ball on the shelf. My logic was simple. If I could not afford the tour ball and I should not play lake balls, I would just buy the cheapest new ball that promised the most distance. Makes sense, right? Wrong, and here is why. These distance balls are built with a very firm cover and a very hard core, engineered to reduce spin off the driver so the ball flies far and rolls out. And for the tee shot, fine, they do go a long way. But golf is not won on the tee. It is won inside 100 yards of the hole, and that is exactly where the rock-hard ball falls apart. When you hit a soft shot into a green, you need the ball to grip and stop. That grip comes from spin, and spin comes from a softer cover that the grooves of your wedge can bite into. A rock-hard distance ball has almost no bite. I watched my approach shots land on the green and then release and roll straight off the back, again and again, and I blamed my swing for months. It was not my swing. It was the ball skating across the green like a marble on a kitchen floor. The feel is the other half of it. On short chips and putts, a hard ball clicks off the face like a stone and gives you no feedback at all. The old pros talked about feel constantly. They wanted to feel the ball sit on the club face for a fraction of a second. That feel is how your hands learn distance control on the greens. A rock-hard ball robs you of it. The history here is worth knowing. When the solid 2-piece ball first appeared in the early 1970s, the famous one being the Surlyn covered ball introduced around 1972, it was a revelation for distance and durability. It did not cut like the old balata wound balls. Average golfers loved that it lasted. But everyone understood the trade-off. You gave up feel and greenside control for distance and durability. That trade-off was accepted knowledge. Then the multi-layer ball changed everything, because engineers figured out how to build a ball with a firm inner core for distance and a soft outer cover for spin and feel. The best of both worlds became possible, but the cheap distance ball never went away, and it still sits on the shelf tricking budget-minded golfers like me into thinking hard equals long equals better. It does not. So I tested it, of course. I chipped 20 rock-hard distance balls and 20 soft cover balls to a flag on a practice green from 30 feet. The soft balls stopped an average of 4 feet closer to the hole. 4 feet. That is the difference between a tap-in and a three-putt, over and over, all round long. I dumped the distance rock. Right now, you might be standing at your workbench, staring at a coffee can full of balls you can't tell apart, wondering which ones are quietly costing you strokes and how you'd ever know for sure. That's the whole gap this collection closes for you. The complete ball fitting system is the digital book that finishes what this video started. It shows you why tour balls actively hurt slower swing speeds, it decodes compression numbers for swings under 90 miles per hour, and it names the exact ball model for slower swingers, plus the guide for the 75 to 85 window most senior advice completely ignores. And here's a check you can run for free tonight, before you buy anything. Take 2 balls of different compression from your own bag, hit 10 of each on a straight shot, and watch which one holds the line and carries farther for your speed. That's the wrong ball problem revealing itself with your own hands. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. This isn't marketing hype about age stealing your yards. It's the same lost knowledge the old club pros used, put back in your hands permanently. Now let me show you the 4th ball I had to get rid of, because this next one is the sneakiest of them all. But by now I was starting to feel a knot in my stomach, because I realized every one of these mistakes had one thing in common, and I bet you are feeling the same thing I felt. You are wondering if any of this matters for a golfer like you, who is not out there every day, who does not have a launch monitor, who just wants to enjoy a round without spending a fortune. So let me talk to you directly for a minute. If you are thinking this is all fine for people with money and time and a fitting bay, I want you to hear me, because I thought the exact same thing. I am not a low handicapper. I play maybe once a week in season. I do not have fancy equipment, and everything I am telling you costs you nothing but the willingness to change one small habit. You do not need to spend more. In most cases, you spend less. You already have everything you need to fix this today, and the 4th mistake I am about to show you is the one you can correct on your very next round without buying a single thing. The 4th ball I dumped was the high spin ball, and this one is the sneakiest of them all, because it punishes the exact golfers who need the most help. Here is the setup. If you slice the ball, if your shots curve hard to the right, and you have fought that ugly banana ball your whole life, there is a specific type of ball making it dramatically worse, and nobody warns you. Spin is the key. A high spin ball is built to grab the air, and that is wonderful for a straight hitter who wants the ball to stop on a green, but a slice is caused by side spin, and a high spin ball does not know the difference between good spin and bad spin. It amplifies all of it. So when you put a glancing, slicing strike on a high spin ball, it exaggerates your slice and sends it even farther offline. I had no idea. I was playing a high spin ball because a magazine ranked it highly, and I could not understand why my slice was getting worse instead of better. It was the ball feeding my worst tendency. The fix is a low spin or straight flight ball. These are engineered specifically to reduce side spin, and for a slicer that means the ball fights the curve instead of feeding it. I switched, and the very first round, my drives that normally sailed into the right rough were finishing in the fairway or just at the edge. I did not change my swing at all. I changed the ball, and the ball stopped betraying me. Now here is the part you can do on your next round with balls you probably already own. Look at what is in your bag right now. If you slice and you are playing a ball marketed for tour-level spin and control, you are playing the wrong ball for your game. Full stop. Grab a lower spin ball, even a basic straight flight model that costs around $20 a dozen or less, and play 9 holes with it. Count your fairways. I will bet you hit more. This costs you nothing you have not already spent, and it works this weekend. The history of this goes back further than you would think. Ball makers have understood spin and flight for over a century. William Taylor patented the dimple pattern in 1905 in England, and the entire point of dimples was to control how the ball interacts with the air, the lift, and the drag and the spin. Engineers have been manipulating spin ever since. The knowledge that different players need different spin profiles is not new. It got buried under a marketing message that told everyone to chase the highest performing, highest spinning ball, as if more spin were always better. For a slicer, more spin is a curse. So the high spin ball went in the trash, and my fairways hit number climbed for the first time in years. But there was still a fifth ball, and this one was not about a brand or a type at all. It was about a habit, and it might be the most common mistake in all of amateur golf. The fifth ball I dumped was, believe it or not, all the different balls. The mixed bag. The habit of playing a different ball on every hole. Think about your own bag right now. If you are like I was, you have got 4 or 5 different brands and models rattling around in there. A found ball on this hole, a range ball on that one, whatever you pull out of the pocket first. You never think about it. It is just golf balls, right? They are all round. Here is why that quietly wrecks your game. Every different ball flies differently, spins differently, comes off the putter differently, and feels different in your hands. When you play a different ball every hole, you never build a feel for how far your 7-iron actually carries, because the distance changes with the ball. You never dial in your putting speed, because a hard ball and a soft ball roll at completely different speeds on the same green. You are essentially starting over on every shot, and your hands can never learn. The tour pros figured this out long ago. There is even a rule about it. The one-ball rule, an optional condition of competition that professional tours adopt, requires a player to use the exact same brand and model of ball for the entire round. They understood that consistency in equipment is the foundation of consistency in performance. If the best players in the world insist on the same ball every single hole, what on earth are we doing playing a mystery ball each time? I tested this on myself in the simplest way possible. For 1 full month I played nothing but the same model of ball. The one I had figured out matched my swing speed and fought my slice. I did not change anything else. My scoring average that month dropped by almost 3 strokes a round. 3 strokes, just from removing the variable of a different ball every hole. My distances became predictable, my putting speed locked in. I finally started to trust what I was going to get. And it costs nothing to fix. You do not need premium balls. You just need to pick one model you can afford and play only that model, every hole, every round. Consistency is free. This idea is old, older than the one-ball rule. Back before mass production, when balls were expensive and hand-wound, a golfer might play a single ball for many holes and knew it intimately. He knew exactly how it behaved. The abundance of cheap balls we have now created a bad habit our grandfathers never had because they could not afford to be so careless. What felt like modern plenty actually made us worse. So there they are, the 5 balls I dumped. The expensive tour ball that was too hard for my swing. The lake ball that was waterlogged and warped. The rock-hard distance ball that skated off every green. The high-spin ball that amplified my slice. And the chaos of playing a different ball every hole. Getting rid of all 5 reshaped my game more than any club I ever bought. But I promised you something at the start, and I keep my promises. I told you about a compression trick from an old pro shop practice. A way to know instantly whether the ball in your hand is the right one for you, using nothing but balls you already own. This is the piece that ties it all together. And it is the one thing I wish someone had shown me 30 years ago. Here is where it comes from. Back in the wound ball era, through the 1950s and 60s, good club professionals did not have launch monitors or radar units. They could not measure your swing speed with a machine, but they still had to fit you to the right compression ball, because getting it wrong meant a member lost distance and blamed the pro, so they developed field tests. Simple, physical, hands-on ways to judge a ball and match it to a player. This knowledge lived in pro shops and got passed down by word of mouth and then it nearly vanished when the machines took over and the marketing told everyone to just buy the tour ball. I found this described in old golf instruction material and confirmed it with older club professionals I tracked down while I was testing all this. Here is the method, and you can do it this weekend. First, the squeeze and thumbnail test to sort your own golf balls by compression. Take the different balls you already own and press your thumbnail firmly into the cover of each one, and also give each a hard squeeze between finger and thumb. You will feel a real difference. The harder balls, the high compression tour balls, barely give at all. The softer, lower compression balls will feel like they yield just slightly under pressure. This tells you which of your own balls are the stiff springs and which are the soft ones. It sounds crude, but the old pros trusted their hands, and once you feel a few, you will sort them instantly. Second, the bounce test on a hard floor. Drop each ball from the same height, say shoulder height, onto a hard concrete or tile floor, and watch how high each one bounces. A ball that has lost its resilience, an old ball or a waterlogged lake ball, will bounce noticeably lower and deader than a fresh ball. This is the single fastest way to expose a dead ball hiding in your bag looking perfectly new. If it thuds instead of springs, it is done. Throw it out. Third, and this is the fitting part, the one that matters most. The old rule of thumb was to match the softness in your hand to the speed in your swing. If you are an older golfer or anyone with a smooth, moderate tempo, a driver swing under about 95 miles per hour, you want a ball that gives under your thumbnail, a lower compression ball around 50 to 70. If you are still a strong, fast swinger, over about 105, you can handle the stiff ball that barely gives. Most of us, and I mean most amateurs over 50, fall in the moderate range and have been playing a ball far too hard for us for years. Here is the beautiful part. You can run this entire test tonight at your kitchen counter with the balls sitting in your garage right now. Squeeze them, bounce them, sort them, throw out the dead ones and the ones that feel like rocks in your hand, and keep the ones that give just slightly and bounce lively. Then pick the single softest, liveliest model you have enough of, and play only that ball for your next full round. You will have fitted yourself to the right ball using a method that predates every machine in every fitting bay, and it will not cost you 1 cent. I did exactly this. I sorted my whole collection on my workbench one evening, squeezing and bouncing every ball I owned. I threw out more than half of them, the dead lake balls and the rock-hard distance balls that barely dented under my thumb. What was left was a small pile of lively, slightly soft balls, and out of those, I chose one model and committed to it. That pile taught me more about golf balls in one evening than 20 years of buying whatever was on sale. When I think back to that first tee outside Dayton, watching an old man outdrive me with a slower, smoother swing, I finally understand what was really happening. He was not stronger than me. He was playing the right ball for his speed, the same ball every hole, a lively ball he trusted, and I was playing a hard tour ball built for someone I will never be, mixed in with a bag full of dead lake balls. He knew something I had forgotten, something our fathers and grandfathers took for granted before the marketing taught us to spend more and understand less. So here is what I want you to feel. You did not lose those strokes because you are a bad golfer. You lost them because knowledge that used to live in every pro shop got quietly replaced with a message designed to sell you the most expensive ball in the case. Tonight you can take it back, with your own 2 hands, at your own kitchen counter. If you are the kind of person who would rather understand your equipment than be sold it, the kind who trusts a field test over a slick advertisement, then you already think the way the best old club pros thought. That is who this is for. Now I want to hear from you. Go look in your bag right now and tell me, how many different brands and models are you carrying around in there? Be honest. Drop the number in the comments, because I promise you are not alone, and I read every single one. Tell me what you found when you squeezed them. And if you want more of these forgotten methods, the practical stuff that got buried under decades of marketing, come along with me. In the next one, I am going to show you the truth about how far your irons really carry, and why the distance on the club and the distance in the magazine are lying to you, using a backyard test that will change how you pick your club on every approach shot for the rest of your life. Stick around. We are just getting started recovering what they hoped we would forget. If you're still with me, here's where this goes. Inside the old way circle, I pick up right where we stopped, walking you through the full ball matching system. And if something doesn't fit your game, you can ask me directly, and a real person, me, answers you myself. You won't be doing this alone. Just point your phone's camera at the code on screen and cancel any time with one click. Now that you know which balls to leave behind, let me help you find the right one. The next video shows you the best low compression balls that feel soft and go farther. It's starting right here.